going on, boys and girls? Good evening, or should I say good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of Cape Side with Christopher James. This edition is all about Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, man, and BKFC 5 in particular. And the stars of that show, and before I bring them in, I just want to say that these two gentlemen did for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship what Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin did for the UFC. They created such a buzz, and they catapulted the organization to a level that nobody thought they would ascertain so quickly in the world of combat sport. But they did, and it's because of these two gentlemen right here. First, I'm going to bring him in. He is the Kid, a.k.a. Mississippi Mean, a.k.a. Mr. Fun, a.k.a. Mr. Tough Guy, the one and only Jason, the Kid Knight. Jason, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Working around the house a little bit, trying to get some stuff done that's been needing to get done, and taking care of kids. That's about it.
All right. Well, that's cool. Well, you couldn't do that dance by yourself. You couldn't have carried Bare Knuckle that night on your own. You had a dance partner. This man, like you, a former UFC fighter, one tough son of a gun, just like you. He's like the Russian version of you. You guys just go out there and you fight. There's no quit. So please welcome the GOAT, Artem, the Russian Hammer, LOBOV. Artem, what's up? Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? Good to see you. Jason, we have to change your fight name. You're not the Kid anymore. You're fucking as old as me now, 50-year-old motherfucker.
So, Jason, we got to give you a new nickname.
I can't hear Artem.
You didn't hear
me? Ah, shit. Can you hear me now?
Nah, I can see his lips moving, but I can't hear him.
All right, Artem, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna click you out, and then I'm gonna bring you back in. So hang on a second. All right, sometimes that happens. Okay, go ahead, Artem. Say something. Let's see if we got Jason.
Can you hear me now, Jason? Anyone can hear me now? No.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now, brother.
You hear Artem?
Chris is using some cheap-ass equipment. That's why you can't hear me properly.
Hey, this is all new stuff I'm using right now, man. I'm trying to upgrade, But anyway, before we start the show, that fight was you guys. And it was all about the two of you that night. I mean, there was other guys on the card, but you guys took it to another level. So in honor of that, first, I'm going to put on my bare knuckle hat for a bare knuckle conversation. And then, Artem, are you ready to check this out? Let me move that out of the way. In my hands, it's you and Jason. It's the green screen. Floating green screen.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm going to get a big green screen behind me so we can do crazy shit like that and actually bring them in. But I wanted to say, first of all, thank you guys for both taking the time to be with us today. And right off the bat, before we get into the fight and everything else, I'm going to ask Artem first. How is your family doing right now during this coronavirus pandemic? And how has daily life changed for you over in Ireland? Because, it's got to be nuts over there.
Yeah, I mean, the family is doing good, thank God. But, my life, of course, has changed. We're on lockdown. We're not allowed to leave you're allowed to leave the house once a day. You're only allowed within like a mile radius of your house. Only one person allowed to leave the house at a time, and you can only go for like essentials, to shop, or if you need to get medicine. It's pretty grim, to be honest. I'm over it. I can't wait for this to blow over and get back to normal life.
Yeah, and you're at home all day with your boy and your wife and just chilling. Are you doing any kind of training at home?
Look, I'll be honest with you. I try to do them like home workouts and all, but I can't, it's so hard to get motivated for them. That's just not for me. I want to be grappling or sparring, doing the real training. This fucking jump shit at home, it just ain't for me. I'm trying to do some push-ups just to stay somewhat active, but I'm telling you, I'm struggling. I see a bag of crisps and I'm just straight over there and fuck the workout and that's it.
So
I like watching them home workouts.
Right.
I enjoy watching them, doing them not so much.
You better clean it up. So does that mean you're going to have to move up a weight class when we get back to business?
Probably. I don't know, to be honest.
Jason, what about you? How's your life affected by this pandemic? And having all the kids home up in the hills in Mississippi, going crazy?
Man, it's not quite as bad as Artem's. We can still go places and travel. Everything shuts down around 5 o'clock, and they still don't let you go inside of the businesses and stuff like that. Walmart, little stuff like that still open, but everything else is shut down. I can't get a haircut, stuff like that. The gyms, all the gyms, they made us close down our gyms. So, that sucks. I got my little gym right here at home, and I've got a bunch of students who are just, especially the kids who are eager to get back to training and asking me, a lot of questions that I don't have answers to. And, I'm kind of the same as Artem. I cannot self-motivate. I have to have someone right there pushing me to get better. Otherwise, I'm going to sit around and be fat and lazy. Well, I mean, I say that, man. I'm able to get a lot of stuff done around the house that, needed to get done, and usually you don't have time for. But, I'm knocking stuff out slowly but surely, and, somewhat enjoying the quarantine, somewhat ready to go back to normal life.
Yeah. So do you use your kids as training partners right now?
No. They My little boy, man, every now and then me and him will go at it, but yeah, my girls, they're a little softer.
So LOBOV in night 3 is going to be at like 170, I guess. That's cool.
Yeah.
You guys could create a new division. What the hell, All right. What are you walking around at like right now? Where you walk around, Jason? What do you think? How heavy are you?
I'm like 160, man. I never get over about 160. My metabolism is crazy, and I can sit around, eat all day, and never gain any weight. And that's usually I'll cut from like 158 down to 145, and it's an easy cut for me. But I really wish I could get fat for a little while, but it doesn't happen.
That's funny. What about you, Artem? Where are you walking around at right now?
To be honest, I've piled on a bit of weight. I'm probably 168 now, 170 maybe, and I normally walk around like 165, 163 even. But now just with no training and eating all the munchies, fucking crisps and chocolate and all that, and watching stuff on Netflix, and I'm gonna be honest, I just piled it on and that's it. And
hey man, it's what do? You're bored, you sit around the house. You can only watch so many workout videos before they make you hungry. All that work,
exactly.
Watching that guy did 100 push-ups. I need to eat a sandwich. I mean, that's how I feel.
Exactly.
So Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship 5, and for you guys that don't know, they've already fought twice. Artem won the first one. This one we're going to talk about. Jason won the second one. So at some point we're going to have a third fight, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I was talking with Jason before we started, and even though this is the anniversary of that fight this week, it's been 1 year, it feels like it's been forever ago. Jason thought the same thing. What do you think, Artem? Does it just feel like it's so long ago?
Yeah, it does, to be honest. But to be honest, now that I'm in quarantine, everything feels like it was years ago. I feel like I went to the cinema a year ago the last time. I feel like I went to a swimming pool, to the gym years ago. I feel like I've been on this couch for way, way, way too long. There's an imprint in my couch already from where I'm sitting.
So I like it. The imprint on your couch. What about you, Jason? You got an imprint on your couch?
No, man, it hasn't been that bad for me. I went like I said earlier. I went and I worked a little bit to get a little extra money in the bank, and kind of like a nest egg. They shut my gym down, and I had the opportunity to go to work making some good money. So I went to work, made some good money, and now I've got enough to sit at home for a good while. So, I just got home Sunday, so I haven't been quarantined too long.
Yeah. What were you doing? What was your job that you were doing? You were doing some construction work?
Yeah, I was working at a paper mill, and we had to rebuild the power boiler. I'm sorry, the generator bank or whatever. It's easy work, but I was getting paid good money. So I was happy to go.
Yeah, and you're not a guy that's afraid to go out there and do hard work, man. You're a country boy. That's what you do.
That's it.
All right,
You
so
know,
go ahead.
I just seen that we're gonna be out of fighting for a while. They're gonna shut everything down. Can't make the money through my gym, so might as well go make it somewhere else. And they consider the paper mill and stuff like that. The construction workers are considered essential employees. So I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll go to work.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, go to work, make some money, have a little fun, do something else other than fighting, get a little look back at the regular life that people live every day. So it's kind of cool. I think it's a little humbling. Like, I don't have any work to do, so there's a company here that does grocery shopping for others. So I'm going to go buy groceries for people and deliver them. What the hell? It'll be fun, and some people need it because they don't want to leave the house. So I ain't scared. What about this fight? So it's a year ago, and you guys are in Mississippi. You haven't met each other. Both you guys had stuff to say one about the other, bad blood, and probably because you didn't meet really before the fight. But Jason, the first time you faced off with him in Mississippi before this fight, what was running through your mind?
Honestly, I thought that he was underestimating me. I thought that, he thought I was going to be a walk in the park. He's gonna go out there and knock me out. And I just wanted to prove that I wasn't going to go that easy. And I was just so eager to get in there and shut his mouth and show him that I'm not going to get knocked out in the first round. There's no way in hell that Artem or any other man out there is just going to knock me out in the first round. And that's what I had in my head. I was like, we're going to go out here and I'm going to show him that I'm a lot tougher than he thinks, and I'm going to gain my respect. And
so
I like, honestly, I couldn't stand the guy until I met him at weigh-in. I mean, I met him in the sauna. When I met him, whenever we started cutting weight together, I was like, damn, man, I gotta fight this dude. He's pretty cool. That sucks. He's not as big of a douchebag as I thought he was.
Oh, that's awesome. But when you looked across from him so you ran into him in the sauna, but right there at when you guys faced off that first time after weigh-ins, did you see in his eyes looking into his eyes that whether you liked him, whether you didn't, he was coming to fight and you were going to be in a brawl?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I've always told people this. If you stand up there and you're weighing in, and you just give them the meanest look, you're trying to look into their soul. That's what I always say. I'm trying to look into your soul. If you're not giving me that same look back, in my heart I've got to fight one. I know that you're not as prepared as I am. You're not as ready to go as far as I'm ready to go. And when I looked in his eyes, I was like, damn, man, we're finna fight. We're finna throw down. Because you can tell he had no fear, no intimidation, no anything. He was ready to go out there and show me just like I was ready to show him.
Yeah, and Artem, same question for you. I mean, the first time you met him, did you look at him? Did you think he was underestimating you, like he thought you might have been underestimating him? What was your initial thought the first time you met Jason Knight?
No, I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I mean, I knew Jason was top 10 in the UFC at one point. You don't get there for no reason. UFC is a stacked division, and to become the top 10 fighter in the UFC, it takes a lot of skill, a lot of toughness, a lot of everything, really. There's only a handful of fighters that can say that they've been the top 10 fighter in the world, So I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I was ready for it,
And did you see in his eyes the same thing? You looked him across at that weigh-in and go, all right, we're going to fight.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really look too much at the guy and the way the guy's behaving at weigh-ins or before the fight. I remember my coach was telling me a story at some weigh-ins. There was two guys squaring up, and one of them was literally shaking with fear. And the other guy tells him, "Oh, what, are you scared?" And he says, "Yes, I'm scared. I'm terrified." but tomorrow night I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna whoop your ass. And he did. He was scared, he was terrified, but then when it was time to go, you know what I mean, he just switched on and that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There is no it's normal to experience those feelings, you know what I mean. It's in our DNA. The reason we're here now, because that's the way we evolved. When you see danger, everything in your body tells you, get the fuck out of there, don't run towards the dinosaur, get the fuck away from him, you know what I mean. So this is in our mind and our DNA. And here you are trying to override your brain and your instinct is telling you to get out, and you're saying, no, motherfucker, I'm gonna step in there, put myself in danger, and prove to myself and everyone else that I can do this. So it's a very unusual, very unnatural situation to be in. So whichever way the guy looks at Wayne's or before that doesn't mean anything. He can look very confident and then completely break down during the fight, or he can look scared but then fucking show up and do the business on the night. So I don't really play into that too much.
This is why I love talking to Artem Lobov, because when you ask Artem a question, he gives you an answer that nobody else does, and you break down your own answer. And I love that whole explanation you just gave. It's like I just got to throw a question out, and I can just sit back and Artem really explain it. You're one of my favorite guys to interview in the world.
All right, Chris, take your tongue out of my ass.
Oh man, I'm just telling you, bro. God damn.
I'm only messing.
That hurts, man. That just hurts.
I'm only messing with you.
I know. Now, you came to Mississippi. You're one of the very few gentlemen out there, Artem, that that left the UFC on their own. They asked to be released. I don't know anybody else really that I can remember, in recent history that asked to be let go. You did. Then you sign with Bare Knuckle. You come to this fight, the first fight for you there, and you're fighting in Mississippi in Jason Knight's backyard. The walkouts happen. You walk out. People are booing you. They're loving Jason Knight at his hometown. And you've been in big fights before. But did this feel a little different for you because it's a new sport, your first time doing it, and feeling the boo from the crowd? Did that have any effect on you?
Well, the boos, I don't care, because I've been fighting abroad my whole life. I used to be one of the guys that they called up when they couldn't, get an opponent for a guy that nobody wants to fight in his hometown, like in Poland somewhere or in England or anywhere else. I was always the guy they called, so I was used to being the away fighter, walking out to booze, so that didn't really affect me. But the new show feel, it certainly felt like I was kind of, especially, coming from the UFC. UFC is always a huge show, huge arena, packed out stadiums or whatever. And now it did feel like I was kind of back in my early days of MMA. But it was good. I enjoyed that. And also Mississippi, it was kind of, I felt it was a crowd that would appreciate a good fight. You get that sensation sometimes. Like, for example, when I fought in Liverpool in England, I got the same feeling every time I fought there. It's like people, they appreciate a good scrap. They almost don't give a fuck if, where you're from, what you are. If you're there to fight, show them a real scrap. They respect you and they appreciate that and they support you. So that's what I felt in Mississippi.
Yeah, and I remember standing in the back of the arena, and you came out a couple of times. That's actually the first time I actually introduced myself to you. Excuse me. But you came out a few times, and you were just like watching the fight and listening to the crowd, and a couple of people like were yelling at you from up there, and you were just waving. You were soaking it all in. It was almost like you weren't fighting. You were so calm. You were like a fan that, and I'm just gonna stand there and watch some people fight, and then then your guys get your walk. So Jason, you made the walkout, hometown crowd. I know your adrenaline's pumping, man, because you're doing this bare knuckle thing. You're fighting Artem, who was brought in as the A side. He's the big name guy that they brought in for the hometown guy in you, who's also a big name. But there was a little more shine about Artem, all in the media, because he just left the UFC on his own. What was going through your mind in that walk as you made that first trip down there to meet him in the ring?
Man, I had it in my head that I was gonna go out there and I was gonna, out tough him. I was gonna show him that I was tougher than he was. I was gonna go out there and knock him out. In my head, I thought that I was gonna walk through him, and he wasn't gonna be able to hold up to as much as I could. And whenever the first punch got thrown, I threw all the skill out the window and just tried to be tougher than he was. And that's a hard thing to do. The man, I'm telling you, I give him all the credit in the world for toughness, because I'm telling you, that's definitely one of the toughest guys I've ever fought. He takes just as much as I can, and it doesn't show if he ever gets hurt. I mean, we both got hurt quite a few times in that fight, but neither one of us slowed down. Neither one of us tried to stop. So it was just a big surprise more than anything.
Now, you said to me before while we were waiting for Artem to come in for the show that, fight starts everything and he hits you. And tell me the phrase that you said to me. Tell Artem the phrase you said to me off the air about he hit you and what happened.
I went back to 8th grade. I started fighting like I was in middle school. He hit me, and then after that, it was just oh shit, I can take his punch. Let's see if he can take mine. And that's kind of how it was. He had the perfect expression the first time I ever heard him talk about the fight. It was like we were both thrown into a blender, and somebody pushed the on button, and that's all it was. You go take a break for a minute, try your best to listen to your cornermen, but not really hear a word that they say, and then they shove you back in there, and it's time to go again. That was a perfect expression for it.
That's awesome, man. What about you, Artem? The first time he cracked you with a good one, do you remember when that happened?
Oh, to be honest with you, the whole fight is kind of a bit of a blur for me. It was. I just remember. I can't remember how much into the fight, but at one point, I just remember sitting on my stool and thinking, "Fuck!" Like my hands are in agony. Just everything is in agony. Blood is fucking pumping. I'm cut to bits, and I'm just like, right, I'm gonna fucking war here. All I listen to is go and then stop. That's it. When they say go, I start throwing punches. When they say stop, I stop. When they say go, I start throwing punches again. Then they say stop, and I stop. That's all I was fucking listening to. I don't remember any advice from my corner anymore. I don't remember any fucking hearing anything else. I just like go, let's go, and then stop. Okay, let's stop. And then actually I remember I thought the 4th round was the last round. So I remember I came back onto my stool after 4th round, and I thought the fight was over. And they're telling me that there's one more round, and I was like, oh my god. For some reason, I miscalculated the rounds in my head, and I was like, oh fuck, I have to go out there for another round. I am already bollocks here. Like I have no juice left, nothing.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, but you just have no other choice. He is not gonna stop. So the only way to sort of survive this and get through it is to keep punching as well, and that's what I did.
Yeah, and when I was in there and watching when you guys both, centered up for that 5th and final round, I was talking with somebody else from the media, and I looked over at him. I was like, "Are these guys really doing a 5th round?" I don't know if I don't know what's holding them both up, because you guys were just so beaten and bloody, and it was insane. And then you guys just went out there and you delivered in the 5th round too, which just I get goosebumps even thinking about that final round, because you guys had already gone through so much. And to just go out there and leave it all in that ring. And like I said, all the respect for it, because like I said, you guys did for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship what Bonner and Griffin did for the UFC when they had that Ultimate Fighter finale, and they just beat the snot out of each other. How does that make you guys feel that everybody talks about that moment? I mean, I'm sure everybody's answered it, but when you really think about it now, it's a year later, and, I would have to say Bare Knuckle, and no disrespect to them, but I don't think they would have taken off as quickly as they did if you guys didn't have that fight that night. I mean, everything fell into place. So, but how does it make you feel to be that important to the history of the sport here now coming back? But more importantly, how important you guys are to the promotion, because you really gave them a boost. Either one of you can jump on that.
Man, honestly, I think it's real cool to be part of history. I got into this when I was 14, got into MMA just because, I used to get in street fights all the time as a kid, and this was my way of fighting without being in trouble, without getting charges pressed, without getting simple assaults and stuff like that. And, now looking back, like I never in a million years thought that I would have made it anywhere. You know, I was just doing it for fun. I didn't think that I was going to make it to the UFC. Made it to the UFC. I got, you know, to the top of, I got the number 15 in the world. Started partying a little too much, lost all that. And then I get in BKFC, and, you know, I'm thinking, well, hey, this is just, you know, something fun to do, make a little bit of money, you know, make a decent paycheck while I'm not in the UFC. Don't even have to go back to work yet. You know, I've got another gig. And I go out there, and first fight, we make, you know, BKFC history. We make, you know, the Bare Knuckle Hall of Fame. And, you know, I always wanted to make it to the UFC Hall of Fame. I wanted something to be remembered by. And I don't care if it's 100 years from now. Somebody talks about bare knuckle fighting, they're going to talk about Jason Knight, Artem LOBOV. You know, that's what's so cool about it. And you know, that's a big feather in both of our caps for sure. You know, we're not going to be forgotten. And that's basically all I ever wanted to do.
That is the truth, man. That was very well said, man. Very well laid out there. Artem, same thing. I mean, what does it mean to be part of this history? Because, like you said, 100 years from now, when people talk about Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships and what got started, they're going to talk about Jason Knight and Artem LOBOV and how crazy you two were back 100 years ago.
I mean, yeah, of course. When you say it, you know, that's the only time I kind of think about it, you know, because for me, I'm still an active fighter. I'm still going ahead. I'm still progressing. So I don't really stop to think, oh, I've done this or I've achieved that. You know, to me, that's nothing yet. You know, for me, the time to reflect on everything will be when I hang up the gloves and then it's done. Then, okay, well, let's see what I have actually achieved. Now I'm going 100 miles an hour. I'm going towards new goals. I'm hoping to compete in pro boxing. I'm still going back to MMA. I want more bare knuckle fights. You know, just stay busy, stay active. And then when I'm 50, when I'm 60, 70, well, your age, Chris, basically.
Yeah,
that's
50.
When I'm gonna stop. And
jeez, Artem just tearing me up today, man. I'm the nicest guy to him. I'm just gonna have to start making fun of him now. That's it. Gloves are off. It's all good, man.
That's when I'm gonna stop and look back, you know, and think about it. For now, it's just, of course, it's great. Yeah, it is good, you know, and it adds to the brand. It adds to my paydays, you know. Yeah. It's, you know, there's many benefits from that, but I don't think it's time for me or for Jason, to be honest, yet to stop and start reflecting. Now it's time for us. We're still young and strong and ready to go. It's time to achieve bigger things and make more history.
No doubt. Has David Feldman, like, I'm sure that night and everything, but has David Feldman come to you guys, like, after, you know, months after everything, just said, thank you for that fight, thank you for, because what it meant, you know? Did he ever, like, and I'm not saying I love David Feldman, so I'm not trying to make him look like bad if he didn't, but he seems like the guy that would, like, he would come up to you and just give you a hug and just be like, thank you so much. Because he knows he fought. He was a boxer. He gets it. So he knows what he saw. So has he come up and just thank you?
Yeah, he's definitely said thank you multiple times. You know, he maybe not months afterwards come up and give me a hug or anything, but he definitely shows his appreciation.
Do you need a hug?
Yeah. I do. I feel like I need a hug.
David, if you're watching, give Jason another hug and send me another paycheck.
Hey, we both need another paycheck, hell.
And then you guys can hug while you look at your money.
That's it.
All right, so a couple of people have commented, so I'm going to throw some of these comments up on the screen for you guys to see. From Roger Carpenter, this is a great example of what the fight game is, and much respect, hands down, to both of these guys. Real deal gladiators. Let's see. Where's the one right here? I put it up a minute ago. Jim Allers. I'm 165 right now. Jason, you and Jim pulled
been one.
I don't
think Jim Allers has been 165. I said I don't think Jim Allers has been 165 in like 3 years. So quarantine must have his ass in trouble. That guy really can't go to the store right now.
So you, Jason, you, Jim Allers, and David Feldman put a little prank on everybody for April Fools. Told everybody, you made an announcement that you guys were fighting, because you fought in the UFC, got a fight night bonus. You guys had a killer fight. So you pranked everybody. Why'd you prank us, dude? That wasn't cool, man. We were all excited.
Honestly, that was Jim's idea. Jim messaged me on Facebook Messenger. He messaged me and he said, "Hey man, I'm using you for a little April Fool's prank." And I was like, "Huh?" So then I go and check my Facebook, and there it is. Everybody, guess what? I'm fighting Jason Knight on July 4th. Blah blah blah. And I was like, "All right, cool. I'll play along." And then I went and found a couple of pictures of mine and his fight and posted on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And it blew up real quick. I had a lot of people commenting and a lot of people liking it and stuff like that. And the next day, I announced it was April Fool's joke, whatever. And I've still got people to this day. I had a guy message me yesterday, "Man, are you and Jim really fighting?" It's like, "No, man, that's an April Fool's joke. Sorry."
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys admitted it when you did, because I worked all night, because I announced it was kind of later in the day. So I worked on all night, and I had a great article written up about how you guys fought in the UFC and how you both ended up here. And it was long. I was like almost 1,000 words. And it was supposed to publish, self-publish like an hour later than when you made the announcement that it was bullshit. And so I just deleted the whole thing. I was like, that motherfucker. And I said, when I get him on the show, I'm going to give him shit. Because I put all that work into it, dude. So I should have saved it for when you guys eventually do fight. But, yeah, you got me, dude. You made me do work.
Yeah, man. That's definitely a fight that I see in my future. Jim, he's went out there and he's taken out a lot of guys, but if you look at who he's fought in bare knuckle, he really hasn't fought anybody. He fought Leonard Garcia was probably the biggest name that he's fought, and Leonard Garcia is probably 10 years past his prime. And if you go back and you watch my fight with Jim in UFC, I'm not taking anything away from the guy. He's tough. Don't get me wrong. But I told him in that UFC fight, and of course we're taking away the kicks and we're taking away the ground game. But the first two rounds, the third round he came out and he surprised me. He fought a lot harder the third round than he did the first and second.
Right.
But I feel like that's an easy win for me. He's going to be tough. He's going to be hard to put away. But I think that I can go out there, use my skill, and walk away with an easy win. And I'm not going to go down like the rest of these guys that he's bum rushing. And, the way I look at it, if Caleb to Jim Allers, there's no reason Jason Knight can't stand up to 5 rounds of Jim Allers. And if Caleb would have knew how to fight him, if he would have, if his skills were a little more crisp than what they are, I feel like Caleb could have beat him. But I think Jim's just a little higher level than Caleb is right now. In the future, I think that I would like to see a rematch out of them two, whenever Caleb has a little bit more skill behind him.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting fight. And, he is 4-0 in bare knuckle, 3 knockouts, the one, decision against Caleb Harris. Artem, he's also had your name come out of his mouth as well. He wants a piece of you. Now, Jim Allers and Johnny Bedford. Johnny's a champion. He's 5-0 in bare knuckle. They've campaigned really hard to let people know that they're the face of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. I even wrote an article, and based on some – wait, hang on. Let me finish. I wrote an article about, even though you guys had that, great fight, these guys are out there, 4 wins, 5 wins, and they both said that they should be the face, even though you guys had that big fight. So what's your thoughts on that? And for Artem, 1, I want you to tell me what's your thoughts on those guys saying that they're the face, and 2, what's your thoughts of you actually potentially fighting Jim Allers?
Yeah, well, in terms of fighting, it's anyone, anytime, any place. That's been me from my first fight, and this will be me till my last. If David Feldman is ready to sign that check for me, I'm ready to go against either one of those guys. That makes no difference to me. There's nothing for me to be that impressed with or scared of. Yeah, they have the numbers as in 4-0 and 5-0, but who have they fought in there? You know what I mean? I've had 3 fights in bare knuckle. 2 times against a top 10 UFC fighter and 1 2-time world boxing champion.
True.
You know what I mean? Who have they fought? This Jim Allers, the last kid he fought was literally a kid. The guy still had milk on his lips. You know what I mean? That the kid he fucking learned to walk 2 days before the fight, and he's supposed to be fighting him, and he got him into trouble. That was a close fight. You know what I mean? If that Khalib guy has a bit more experience, he's gonna beat Jim. Give it another year and do a rematch with them two, and Harris is gonna beat him. I guarantee you that. So for me, you know, what is Jim doing? He's just bum rushing these guys. He's just explosive, strong, and they're just not good enough to withstand that. But with me, you know, you can try and fucking bum rush me the way he's doing to them all he wants. I ain't going away anywhere. So, and to be honest, Jim hasn't even really been hit that hard yet in there. I think if he was to fight me and he got hit once properly, he would know all about it. He would shell up, and I feel that it would be game over for him. So I'm all for it, you know.
Yeah, and you know, that's a fight. Honestly, I'd like to see. I think a lot of people would like to see that. So I'm going to ask each of you, Artem, who is the face of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship?
I think me and Jason are the face. That picture has been shared of me and him side by side. It represents exactly what Bare Knuckle is all about. It's about tough guys that don't quit. You know, it's about excitement, and those scars speak for themselves. You know, so that picture became historic. You know, there's neither of the fights that Jim or Johnny had. You could say that about those fights. Not one. Yeah, it's impressive. They've done good things. They won all the fights, but the quality hasn't been there yet. And in my book, it's all about quality, not quantity. You know, you can beat 20, 30 guys. It's not that hard. Boxers all do it. There's thousands of undefeated boxers in the world that have never fought anybody. And
True.
so what? And so what?
Yeah, and you know, you're right. With boxing, that's the way the game is played. You have to win like 18 fights before you get some junior rinky-dink championship title fight, and then you have to win another 8 fights to get an actual recognized, you know, ranking titles. Yeah, it takes forever, dude. I you know, people right here are like, they're look. Oh, here's the one. Right here comes some. All hail Lord Artem. Wait, there's more. All the goat. And for sure, preach Artem. Man, you know, we talked about this one time when I interviewed you before, man. How the goat thing got started, and I just love it, dude. When it first started, I think I told you, I was like, "What are these people talking about?" And then over time, I understood. And you know, you're the goat. Fuck everybody else. Artem's the goat. That's just the way it is. But Jason, is he the goat?
Man, as far as I look, in my opponents, he's probably definitely one of the favorites. So I'll give him that. He's the GOAT. You know,
he's the GOAT.
You can't take it. You can't take it away from him.
You can't take it away.
He's by far the most classy guy you're ever gonna step in there with. You know, everybody else.
We were clapping for the GOAT. We had to clap for the GOAT.
Yeah, you see a lot of people. You see a lot of people who, you know, they get to a certain level and then they let all that go to their head. You know, you can tell that Artem's the same guy as he was when he was 15. You know, he hasn't changed at all. He hasn't gotten no big head just because he's Conor McGregor's training partner and he trains at SBG and all this stuff. He's still just a cool, down-to-earth guy who is going to stay that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what I love about him.
Yeah, you know what you said, because we were at Bare Knuckle in Tampa, and after he fought Paulie, and somehow, some way, Artem got left there at the arena. So instead of being like bitching and moaning and complaining and going, "Where's my fucking car?" like some guys that, you know, are stars do, I said, "You need a ride?" So I loaded him, his wife, the baby, and somebody else in the car, my Altima, no fancy car, drove him back to the hotel. Did a video phone call with my wife so she could say hi to him, and that's him. You know what I'm saying? That's who he is. The humbleness comes out, and the appreciation for what he does shows in his work. So all hail Lord Artem, the humble goat. Hold on, let me wipe the shit off my nose, right?
I bet you he was probably sitting at the arena still signing autographs and taking pictures if there was people around. You know, not even stressing the shit.
He wasn't. He was just chilling.
Yeah, man. I wanna revisit the Jim Allers, Johnny Bedford. I want to revisit that little topic. Jim Allers and Johnny Bedford, of course, they both said mine and Artem's name because they want to fight somebody that gets them recognized. They're, as far as the sports goes, they've got more wins. They've got a bigger record. Johnny Bedford's got his little belt, and still they're not even relevant. Neither one of them. They're around the world. They're not talked about. Not at all. Around the world, hardly anybody knows who they are, and that's what they're wanting. That's what they're hoping for, and I can't blame them for that. I'm not mad at either one of them about that. But man, I really, really want to fight Johnny Bedford. I want to show that guy that he has fought a bunch of nobodies that are, that are basically what we in the fight world we call them cans. We call them cans because they got handed an easy fight, somebody that you can beat pretty easily. And the best opponent, in my opinion, the best opponent that Johnny Bedford's fought is Reggie Barnett. And you could say Crazy Horse. You could say Crazy Horse, but I feel like Crazy Horse has passed his prime as well. He 10 years ago, Crazy Horse would have demolished Johnny Bedford. But, he's not the same Crazy Horse as he used to be. He's not the same fighter that he used to be. But you put me in there with Johnny Bedford, David Feldman, I'm begging you, please make that fight happen. I'm going to put that boy to sleep. And he can keep his belt. I don't care if it's for a title fight. I mean, like I've even said, I'll take a pay cut to fight that guy. What I'm saying? If he wants to fight me in the backyard, he can come meet me out here in the backyard. We not get paid a dime, no fans, no cameras, no nothing. I just want to knock that boy out and shut his mouth.
Wow, man.
That's all.
That's some real venom right there. And Roger Carpenter was watching. He said Jason Knight deserves just as much as respect as Artem, and that's 100% true. And where's that other one? I put that up here. So here's a question, and a couple of people have left this comment. Let's see a trilogy, Knight, LOBOV 3. When do you I'm guessing you guys both want to do it because you're the competitor that you are, and nobody wants to have the record even. Somebody wants to have the one up. So, and I know you're both competitive. So, what do you guys think? Is that when this comes back? Didn't David Feldman say that he was going to do a free show, a free pay-per-view for the fans after all this clears up when you guys go back to fighting? I'm pretty sure he said something along that lines. Would that be something you guys would be interested in, headlining that one, the first fight back?
As long as we're not fighting free, then yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man. Like I don't care. As long as
you're getting paid. You're getting paid. But the company's just going to give a fight away to the fans. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. But if he does do that, would you guys be interested in headlining that one? Welcome back to BKFC. Let us remind you who the hell we are.
I'd be all for it.
That's 100% up to Artem. I'm Artem. I'm down to fight anytime, and I gave him. I mean, he gave me my rematch, and like I said, I got so much respect for the man. Anytime he asks for it, he can name the date, name the place, and I'll show up.
Sounds good. So it's all up to David Feldman. If he's ready to put that fight on again, I'm ready to go. But I haven't heard anything from David in the recent weeks, obviously with the coronavirus and all that. But
sure,
if he was gonna do it, to me, yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? Why not? It's a fight that was talked about a lot. It's a fight that people, I think, will always want to see. And as you said, it's 1-1. Let's put the final dot in that sentence and see, let the better man win and make some money in the process.
Yeah, see, me, I want to let the fans. I want to let the fans simmer a little bit. I want to see each of you fight somebody else. Let's say we'll get Jason Knight to fight Johnny, get that out of his system. We'll book you with Jim Allers, and then after you guys do your fights there, then you go back. Make us want it a little more. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to give it to us easy. I want to see you guys go beat somebody else up and then go.
You can book me against Johnny and Jim both. One at a time. I'll fight both of them.
Same night?
I don't care. Same night. I mean, but just give me Johnny first, because I'm gonna put him to sleep pretty easy, and then I'll go fight Jim.
And when you do that, maybe Artem will fly over. Artem can work your corner that night.
I'm down.
That would be funny if you showed up to work his corner against either one of those guys. They'd be like, "What the hell happened?" I want to jump off Bare Knuckle for a second because I haven't seen you or spoken to you in a while, Artem. Conor came back and amidst all this crazy stuff. What did you think of Conor's comeback to the shoulders and just boom? Conor just doing what Conor does, surprising the world, amazing everybody.
Yeah, well,
what'd you think?
You know, everyone was talking about the shoulder shot as if it was something new, but actually, it's not something new at all. Actually, when Conor was fighting for the first time for the UFC against Marcus Brimach in Sweden, in his UFC debut, in the warm-up, he split me open with that shoulder shot. And Stitch had to come in and treat me. And this was my first time meeting Stitch. I was pretty, I was amazed. Like, wow, Stitch is, treating me. He's
stitching you.
Yeah, exactly. But he did that to me with just a shoulder shot. One shoulder shot, boom, right under the chin, and he split me right open. So that shot has been in his book for many, many years already. But it was cool to see it in the fight, and also the head kick as well. Probably no one expected that. Everybody talked about the left hand of Conor, but nobody talked about the left foot of Conor. And as you could see, he was pretty, devastating with that as well. I mean, Conor has an incredible skill, when he's got his mind in the right place and he puts the work in. I don't think there's anyone that can stop him, he truly is a very talented martial artist,
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
I'm excited to see what the future holds, and I can't wait to see more fights of his. No matter what people say, anytime Conor fights, it's always exciting. He's never been in a boring fight, he has that aura about him. He's able to just bring it and make it exciting, and that's why he's a big star.
Yep. Jason, what'd you think of that fight?
Man, I liked it. The only thing that sucked is I never seen Cowboy go out that easily. I went out to train with Cowboy. He's a real cool guy, and I've always looked up to him. So it kind of sucked to see one of my idols go down that easily. But it was impressive by Conor. You can't take nothing away from the guy at all. Conor's got skills, and he's always impressive. He's always fun to watch. Most of the time I'm rooting against him. I don't. That's how it is. But most of the time I'm rooting against him because half the time he's fighting a lot of guys that I really root for, like especially Cowboy. Man, I wanted Cowboy to win that fight so bad, and then he went out there and he demolished him like that, man, and it kind of hurt my heart a little bit, but at the same time, it was an excellent performance.
Yeah, so that's why you need the hug. You're still recovering from the Cowboy beating. I got you now. It all makes sense now. It's all coming together.
Yeah, man. Like I had a bunch of people ask me. About that fight. They were talking about going out and placing bets, and they're like, "Who do you think is going to win, Cowboy or Conor?" And I was like, "Man, I want Cowboy to win." I was like, "But if I was a betting man, if I was putting money down, I'm going to put money on Conor." Like that. That's just the logical decision. You're gonna bet with Conor.
Sure.
But I don't really know the odds. I know that Conor was definitely the favorite, so I don't know if anybody made money off of that or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. I had to get one Conor question in, so I figured it'd be about that fight because I thought it was a cool fight. Now the UFC is back next weekend. Thoughts from either one of you about them putting on this show? Some people say shouldn't do it. I say if the fighters are willing and they're taking safety precautions and there's no fans in the building, why the fuck not, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I suppose.
Do you think it's too soon? Either one of you, it doesn't matter.
The way I look at it, man, is like this. If we're meant to die from the coronavirus, it's going to get us. I'm a firm believer of, God has his plan. If it's your time to go, you're going to die. It doesn't matter what you do. If you stay at home or, whatever, if God's ready for you, he's going to come and get you. He's going to take you home. And, there's nothing that you can do to stop that. So I of course, I think it's a good idea to take a lot of these safety precautions and maybe, slow everything down and hopefully nip it in the bud. But, I honestly don't think that anybody who's going to die is going to die because of they went out shopping or something. I think it's going to be just because it was their time.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Artem? You think they should wait a little longer, or?
I mean, they seem to have figured a way where it's going to be kind of safe once people are there. My only issue would be, how are people going to be preparing for these fights? The government and everyone is telling you, stay the fuck inside.
Right.
Every celebrity, every big sports star has made a video encouraging everyone to stay inside, to practice social distancing. And let's be honest, if you're going to be getting ready for a UFC fight, you can't do that. There's no fucking way in hell. You have to train.
No.
You have to do real training. You know what I mean? You have to be training with people all the time. So, it's I understand, of course, why the UFC are doing it. And, it's a hard one. Honestly, it's a very hard one, but time will tell. But just imagine for a second, if one of those people that participated in it then found out that he does have a corona and, God forbid, infected somebody, and somebody, maybe died or something else. Imagine the lawsuits that are going to come from that.
It's going to be crazy if it happens, no doubt.
Especially in a time where the governments and every single government is telling you, stay the fuck inside, don't do it. And somebody decides to do it, and then there's consequences as a result of that. They're going to be in some hot water. So that would be my only concern. Yeah. But, they seem to be doing it now. They know what they're doing. They've been in this business for a long time. I'm sure they have considered all the risks and are taking all the necessary precautions. So I hope that it works out.
Yeah, I'm going to watch. I think everybody's going to watch. Some people might not be excited that they're doing it, but they're not there. They're not going to get sick if anything's going down. So they're like, screw it, I'll tune in and watch. And like I said, it's cool. I mean, I want to see fights. The fighters want to fight. They're taking all the risks. They know what's going on. What do you guys think of Dana White saying he's buying a fucking island and building a fucking venue so he can do international fights? That's some gangster shit, man.
Yeah, they certainly have the funds to do it. So why the fuck not?
Yeah, I have to ask you guys because you've both been there in the UFC, and so the inner workings and the stuff that a lot of us don't know or don't get access to, around Dana and the way they conduct business. So that's why I wanted to ask you about the fights itself, and then Dana buying an island. I thought that was epic. It's good stuff. So you guys, you did that fight a year ago. Then you had another fight already. And again, we talked about it. Seems like it was so long ago. Bare knuckle fighting is on hold right now, as the rest of the world is. But I think this UFC going forward, I think this might open the door for some other promoters to maybe go back to work, and try to get their fights going on. And again, I think we might be at a point where doing stuff like that may be okay. I guess this is going to be the science experiment. We're going to figure it out right now, and hopefully nobody gets sick. Now that you've got that whole year past you, it's like you said, you want to move forward, you want to get into the next fight, you want to go boxing, and you want to get back into MMA. I know Jason still wants to do MMA, and he's got Empire Fighting Championships that he works with out of Mississippi. So would you guys ever entertain an MMA fight together at Empire or another island fights where I work on Fight Pass or something? Would you guys ever want to do that together, on a pro MMA fight together?
Of course, why not? Fight is a fight, you know what I mean? Why not? I would definitely do it.
For sure.
I think that should be the trilogy fight. That should be the trilogy fight, the deciding fight. Go to MMA. You guys both got one in bare knuckle, and now you go to an MMA fight at a bare knuckle event. That would be it, dude.
Yeah.
You guys could do an MMA fight, but bare knuckle MMA. Oh shit! We might have just started something there. There you go, bare knuckle MMA fight. The war to settle the score, if you will. I'm going to call David Feldman when I get off the air. I'm going to say, Dave, I got an idea. But would you guys do a bare knuckle MMA fight?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it adds all the other stuff. So I like the idea. Full on bare knuckle MMA fight. Jason, how would that fight go?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like Artem said earlier, man. A fight's a fight. We get in there, we're gonna have some fun, and no matter what, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna put on a show, win, lose or draw. We're both gonna go out there and we're gonna do our thing, have some fun.
So what if you did? Let's say they booked that an MMA bare knuckle fight. You guys have only fought bare knuckle against each other twice, so you kind of know the toughness part. But what would you think that would benefit you against Artem, Jason, in a MMA fight, full on MMA fight? Where would you think you would have the advantage over Artem? It's not toughness and the striking. You guys have proven that. So is it the grappling? Is it the submission? Is it the wrestling?
I believe where I would have an advantage would be jiu-jitsu. I know that you have to have good wrestling though, and I got to get the fight to the ground. And from what I've seen, he's got decent wrestling, so I would have to improve on that. But the way I look at it, I have a whole lot more fun standing up. So I really don't know. It'd be hard to call that fight because I know that he's not really going to care to take the fight to the ground, and I don't care to take the fight to the ground either. That's a big reason I like bare knuckle better than I do the UFC, because you don't have these boring wrestlers, taking you down and trying to lay on top of you the whole fight. And I've got very good submission skills, and I'm able to tap a lot of people out. But once you get to that next level, they get a whole lot better at defending. And, I think that's a lot of the problem I ran into in the UFC. I might could outwork you on the ground. I might could put you in different submission attempts. But if I can't submit you, the submission attempts don't mean anything. And you're on top grinding out the round and you get the win anyways, because the judges don't know what the hell they're looking at. They don't see 7 submission attempts. They just see one guy's on top of the other. And, the way I look at it, if we fought MMA, it's probably going to be another stand-up brawl. Just add in. We just add in kicks, elbows, and knees.
There you go. So, Art, where would you see the advantage for you if you went full MMA? Is it your wrestling, like he said, that you're wrestling? Because your wrestling, your offensive wrestling is good, but your defensive wrestling is really good. Like, it's hard to take. I watch people try to take you down, and you're sprawling out. I'm like, you ain't taking me down, motherfucker. Stand up here and fight with me. So, where do you see it?
Fighting Jason MMA would be a tougher puzzle to solve than if I just fight him, boxing, because his style, he was like always changing it up. You don't really know what he's doing. He's goes in for a bit of wrestling, then he doesn't really commit too much. If he sees the takedown is not there, he comes back up on top with shots. Then you try to fight again, then he level changes again, takes you down. You try to take him down, he might even pull guard. He's got rubber guard, so it's a tough puzzle to solve. I don't think you can kind of just prepare for one particular thing. You just have to approach it as in like just fight wherever it goes. Because I almost feel like he almost not sure where he's gonna take it. He just plays it by ear. Depending how the fight is going, he does one thing or the other, and those guys are always kind of hard to plan for, hard to prepare for. So I just have to be good everywhere. I have to be training, everywhere. And I, of course, would be trying to, stand the whole time and defend his takedowns. Yeah, it would be a tough fight. It would be a tough fight. I think it would be a tougher fight for me in MMA than in boxing. I think I would prefer to just fight him in a bare knuckle boxing fight rather than MMA, but I'd still say yes to it, of course.
Oh, well, maybe we'll make that happen. But if you're going to do that, David better get the checkbook and he better have the right number of zeros on the back end. That's what I'm saying. I know how it works for our. I'm like, pay me, I'm in. There we go. All right. Well, you guys, we've been on for an hour now. I don't want to keep you all day. I know you got so much stuff to do with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now. We're all so busy.
I know that couch is missing me a lot. He's been winking at me the whole time.
But I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on today and coming on together and celebrating this 1 year anniversary, man. It's really cool to listen to your guys talk about it a year later, and that thing Jason said, he hit me and I went back to the 8th grade. He hit me back to middle school. Those are the moments that, I was looking for, and I wanted to hear from you guys. And you both really shared it. I feel like I was just there right now. Like, this is the post-fight press conference because it just all came rushing back. You guys deserve all the credit and accolades you get from everybody for it. And there's a question here for Jason. Thoughts on Tyler Goodjohn calling out Jason?
Man, I definitely want to fight Tyler Goodjohn. The way I look at it, I don't know if you watch BKB and you watch Tyler Goodjohn, but
Seen
the
him.
dude is a beast. He really is. He's a good fighter, and I want to test myself. I got in this to get better and to fight better opponents, and I believe that if I can beat Tyler Goodjohn, then that's the ultimate win in bare knuckle.
Cool.
And I know that like in my opinion, I'm not ready for that fight yet. I need a good solid 6-month training camp to really prepare for him and to really look over his skills and have my coaches look over his skills and prepare specifically for Tyler Goodjohn. And I believe that, I've got the heart and the toughness to do it. And all I got to do is work on my skill. And I would love to fight that guy.
Well, maybe we'll send you overseas once we can get you over there, and we'll send you over to SBG, and you can train with Artem and get some get some of that Irish Russian toughness. It would be. I'm telling you, I would love to see you guys work in each other's corners, like Rocky and Apollo did. Fucking. That's the kind of bond I think you guys created, man, and that's the most beautiful part of all of this that happened. That you guys realize that, hey, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. We're both cool dudes. We're going to make some money fighting each other a couple more times. Let's fucking do it. I love it. I love the relationships that come from these great fights.
Sure.
You guys, you didn't just have the Bare Knuckle Fight of the Year and right now the Bare Knuckle Fight ever. In the year that happened last year, I would say you guys were top 3 Fight of the Year across MMA and Bare Knuckle. I mean, that's how good that stuff was, man. So thank you for the fight. Thank you for entertaining us. Thank you for being here with me today and reminiscing about BKFC 5, the night you guys put Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship out into the stratosphere. That was awesome. Any last words you want to say? Social media followings, either one of you jump in and, take your parting shot, as they say on Jerry Springer.
For me, thank you for having me on the show. Thanks to everybody out there, who roots us on. We do this because, we love it. And it's exciting to have fans back you. So thank y'all for that. Also, dear Lord, thank you so much for everything you do for me. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So God gets all the glory.
Amen. Mr. LOBOV.
Yeah, Chris, thank you so much for having us on the show. Thanks to Jason for coming on as well. It was great seeing all of you guys. Thanks for all my supporters. Lil, thank you for all the haters as well. As always, thank you so much for that extra motivation, guys. Keep on hating.
Sure.
And keep making my paychecks bigger. Thank you so much.
No, I want to give this to the middle finger thing you did. Let him hear it again. One more time with that finger. Fucking bastards. I love when you do that shit, man. Well, listen, guys, it's been great. We'll catch up again real soon. Hopefully, it'll be a fight announcement for both of you guys next time we talk. Please be safe and be well with your families, man. You're all in my thoughts and prayers, man. I want you all to come through the same way you went into the coronavirus. I want you to come out of it the same way. Happy, smiling, beating the shit out of people and making a bunch of money for doing it. Thanks very much. I'm going to click you out for a second. Just stand by for 1 second before you dip. Guys, thanks very much for tuning in. It's Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, Artem LOBOV and Jason Knight. We're going to get out of here. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. I'll have a show announcement for tomorrow's show coming up shortly. Until then, thanks for tuning in. I'm Christopher James. You've been Cage Side. Peace.